Welcome to Radio Northampton's November edition. I'm Lori Caruso, and today we have a special guest in the house, Mr. Joe Manzi, the Director of Parks and Recreation for Northampton. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that introduction. I don't know how special I am, but it's great to be here.
Well, thank you for being here as well. So, Joe, are you coming up on the 2-year mark?
I know.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Well, yeah, it'll be 2 years at the end of February that I joined the department, and on some levels, it's amazing how quickly it's gone by. On other ways, I'm saying, wow, it's already been 2 years, and I want to get to X, Y, Z, and we're not there yet. So, yeah, it's a process of building things, but the time does go by quickly.
Is there any one thing that particularly stands out for you out of those 2 years that have been, a positive in the Northampton area?
I think just the overall acceptance of what we're trying to do and how the community and the town has been to me. I mean, they really have been supportive of what we've done from a town standpoint, administrative standpoint. It really has been, build your department, go for it type of approach. And then the community has responded in kind, and that's really been probably my biggest challenge, is trying to get to what I call the soul of the community. Get to know the families. What is it about this particular community? What does Northampton most want from the department? Where do they want it to go? What types of things? So, yeah, I think that's the main thing, is how supportive everyone's been.
That's great, and I know you have totally been supportive. So tell me, what's new and exciting coming up? I mean, we've got the holidays.
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season, exactly. What do you have in store for us?
Well, following along with 'Tis the season, we'll start with the Thanksgiving area first, and we'll be bringing back our second annual Turkey Bowl, which is an adult co-ed softball. Softball. I have my seasons mixed up. It's adult, flag football tournament. And we did have a great softball season. I'll get that plug in since I mentioned it. But
nice work.
Moving to football. Yeah, last year we had it, and it was great. Just a one-day adult flag football tournament. The weather was perfect because it was a mud bowl. And we had a little bit of snow the day or so before, and things kind of melted, and then it was about a bunch of adults slopping around all day in the mud playing. We can only hope to be so fortunate this year. But that's coming up again on Sunday, November 24th. So a really fun day, and it's great for us to be able to, because we have a great youth association in town that handles all of the children's sports and stuff. It's nice to have the adults be able to get some things like, we mentioned softball, obviously, and the flag football to get involved as well, and to have a good time and be kids for those events.
And it's such a busy season. Everybody absolutely needs to start having some fun for that. So that's great to hear. What about for the holidays, Christmas? That's coming up too.
Right. So our big annual Breakfast with Santa. And this is an event that I was fortunate to come into that already existed, and now we're just trying to, under our care, keep it going and build it a little bit while we can. We're very excited. Mr. Savastano hooked us up with some beautiful new tables that have really helped with our luncheons, and for this event will be really big.
He's always a big help.
Oh, he certainly is. So that's coming up on December 14th, and we have 3 separate seatings at 8, 9:15, and 10:30. And as we sit here and do this, the 9:15 is just about sold out, even though we added a little more seating for this year. The 8 o'clock's doing really well, and 10:30 is going to come up and be the last one to sort of fill in. So important for families to know that you don't want to miss it, and but you will if you don't act fairly quickly, especially with a couple of those times. Santa will be here.
I was just going to ask that.
Yes, it is his busy time of year, but we reserve well in advance, and he was able to clear the time for us.
Wow, I know. He has a lot of breakfasts lined up. Northampton's just one of them.
Yeah, and IHOP comes down and does it. Billy Burns from IHOP runs the breakfast. It's spectacular, with or without Santa, and Santa, of course, makes it its own special event. So, yeah, it's a great community thing that I was happy to adopt and treat as my own now.
That's great. Well, we're looking forward to that for sure. So tell me, what are other ways the community can get more involved with what you're doing to support you so you can support the community?
Yeah, well, we have, besides opportunities to volunteer and be involved in the programs, for instance, we have a big ski program that'll come up, and that starts in February. We'll have 2 full buses, so we take a lot of chaperones. But I think the biggest thing, and something I was taught many, many years ago in this field, is never say no unless you have to. So if you have an idea, you have a suggestion, don't assume because we don't have it, it's something we don't want. We're building one program at a time, and that's where we rely on the community to come forward with their ideas and contact me. And like I say, we won't say no unless we have to.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. We're going to take a short break for some community notes, and we'll be right back
Wonderful.
after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Radio Northampton. I'm Lori Caruso, and we have Joe Manzi in the house. Joe, so we have a lot, obviously, we've been talking about with the holidays. What else can we talk about from the school perspective? What kind of after-school activities do you have?
Thank you. Yeah, so we started this school year running the actual after-school program. So we call it the after-school Clubhouse. And things have been going great. We have, to date, 75 members in the after-school program, which translates to about 50 kids or so a day that come. Everybody on varying schedules, so some kids come more frequently than others. But we're able to be there every day till 6 for the parents. We think we ought to offer a strong program that's also affordable to the families. And we overlap it and layer it with additional after-school programming such as the Coyote Club, the Lego Club, hip-hop dance, which has taken off and been 2 sellouts for the 2 sessions we offered. So we have a combination of kids who are within our after-school program who wouldn't otherwise get to do those types of programs that we can offer to them, but also to the families that don't necessarily need after-school care can be in those programs. So they blend together, and to date, things have been going really well with the after-school program.
That's great. And having 2 children myself, I know how important it is to keep them active, keep them, focused and busy. And also, working parents. There are a lot of working parents out there that just don't have the means to be able to have the children home by themselves or whatever the case. So it's great to hear that you're doing that. What other activities do you think future are you looking at?
Well, one thing we haven't touched upon yet is our PASA program, which is basically our program for seniors, PASA being an acronym, Programs for Actors, Seniors, and Adults.
Oh, that's great.
So we're really fortunate in town. Again, that's something that I inherited. I'm just trying to be a good caretaker for the program. A great group of seniors in town. We do a monthly luncheon and various other trips. So coming up, we have our Thanksgiving luncheon, and that's going to be on Tuesday, November 19th. So we'll do a full Thanksgiving dinner and at that luncheon. And then coming back in December, we'll have Christmas luncheon with the Yankee Swap, and that's going to be on December 17th. And we'll also have Ramblin' Richard, who's an entertainer who comes in, plays guitar, sings. He had previously done a program for us with World War II songs when we were planning a trip to the Wrights World War II Museum. So he'll be back. And then just because we really love luncheons, we'll also be doing a luncheon trip to Fogarty's. We came up with this one sitting around when we went to the Wrights World War II Museum, and we were eating at Johnson's. We said, hey, Fogarty's we should go to. So there we had it. We booked our next lunch trip. So who am I to argue? I'm just trying to keep the people pleased. So we have that coming up as well, and that's going to be on December 3rd. As you're probably aware, we got a new van early part of the year, and it's been working out great. Much more comfortable seating arrangement and transportation arrangement for our PASA group.
Oh, that's great. So what's the turnout typically? What do you usually see for numbers?
For our luncheons, are usually in the 30 area, somewhere in there. It does vary, weather dependent for
Sure.
some people who are coming, the time of year before some people go to Florida and all of that. But that's pretty much a baseline number that we go with, 30.
Wow, that's great. So I was going to say, and you transport them as well? Is that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's like an all-in experience.
It is. It's a really great time, and I get to do the driving and be with them the whole time. And so, yeah, that we take the van, and so we can pretty much, we're only held back by our own imagination of things that they want to do and we want to do as a group.
That's excellent. Now, do you find it more word of mouth that it gets out there that you have these activities besides obviously Channel 22?
Well, I look at it in terms of the overall the department, the layering it in. The after-school clubhouse is huge because now we're hitting many of the families in town. And once you do that cross-promotion to our other programs and the communication across all age levels really becomes important. So our summer camp, for instance, last year, from year 1 to year 2 that we did it grew 89%, which I thought there would be a 30% increase or so because the numbers were light the first year. But again, once you start layering things in and get to know the families and be there, things promote quickly that way.
Excellent. Any words of wisdom to the families out there today? Anything that you want to say to everybody just to make it so everybody's happy and enjoying what you're experiencing here?
Yeah, again, communication with me. The best way and easiest way is to email me because I can do that 24/7. You might be alarmed sometimes when you get a 5:30 a.m. response to an email, but it can be a convenient time for me before we head in the morning. So yeah, just keep the communication going with any concerns, any questions, suggestions, whether it's facility stuff at Dearborn Park or program suggestion ideas. Just we'll get back to you and we'll communicate and give you the answers that we have.
That's wonderful. Joe Manzi, thank you so much. You've done such an incredible job here in the community, and we really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it and love being here. Thank you and good luck with the program. It sounds great.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to Radio Northampton. I'm Lori Caruso. We have a special guest that just called in. I am excited to talk to Steve Turner. Steve Turner, how are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me on today.
Absolutely. So bring back the trades. I'll tell you, after I had you on our show, Lori and Bean Show, I can't begin to tell you how many people were so interested in what you had to say. Let's talk about that. What's going on with Bring Back the Trades, if you can explain it?
Yeah, well, basically what we are is we're a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, that's trying to bring awareness of the lack of the younger generation getting into the trades. And everybody knows that, if you try and call up a plumber, you either can't get one or it's a long waiting line. So basically we're just trying to bring awareness and change the stigma of the trades that's out there, that it's a dirty job and it's an unpleasant job. So we're just trying to get to different schools and change the awareness of the trades to get the kids back into the trades and get them motivated to see what's out there as far as the trades.
It's definitely an important concept, an important topic for sure. After our show broadcasted, I can't begin to tell you how many people stopped me to say, that is so important. We're in a trade that's failing. We're not seeing anybody back it up, and we don't know where it's going. And we spoke particularly about plumbing and electrical. Tell me about what you're seeing out there as far as which channel, which industry is being mostly affected.
Well, the more I talk to people, they're all being affected. I think the most popular ones, because everybody knows about them, is the plumbing, and the electrical. But the welders, a lot of these huge, you go to Portsmouth, you see all these skyscrapers being built. A building, today mostly is steel now. So back in the old days, it was masonry or wood. Now today everything is steel put together. So the welding field is severely being hurt too. So I would say those three are the most common, but they're, no matter who I talk to, they're all in a deficit and they're all looking for help.
How do we fix the problem, Steve? I know that you're out there on this mission to try to do that, but I think we all need to support you and we all need to push on this. How do we do that?
Well, I think, the more and more I think about it, it's talking to schools, but I think it's talking to the parents. Telling them and showing them that, you can go to college. And like I said, before, we're not against college. My son is a senior at Quinnipiac College, and he is graduating in marketing. So we're not against college.
Sure.
We're just for the kids that don't want to go that path, that want to work with their hands, and, they just don't want to go to college. So that's what we're after. But I think, the more I think about it, it's getting into the middle schools, not the high schools, getting into the middle schools and showing the younger kids how fun these projects could be. I mean, when I went to school, we had home ec, we had woodworking, in sixth grade,
Right.
seventh grade. So I think it's, the more and more I think about it, instead of just going out there and talking to the public, I think it's actually educating the parents. So when they're sitting down around the kitchen table, they can actually discuss the other options other than, because the only option today you hear is college. So I think it's getting out there and showing them what's available.
And, usually the stigma with going to college and getting your degree and coming out, you're thinking you're going to make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
We've had this conversation about what these trades are making, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you, like I said, I'll use the plumbing and the welding and stuff like that because that's the most common. To be a plumber, you have to be apprentice first, then you have to be a journeyman. So, 3 or 4 years to become a plumber that you can actually work. You have to be an apprentice and work with a licensed plumber first. So you can't just start your own business. But once you get into it, you're in the high 60s, 70s, and if you're really, in a different state or something like that, you can be well over $100,000 easily with a really good, as everybody knows, package deal, health insurance, 401ks, which is very important.
Yeah, and especially since the competition's not really there, you're getting the jobs now.
Correct. Like if you get out of college, like you were saying, you're looking for a job. If you go into a trade and you're good and you can pick and choose your employer.
Wow. We're going to take a short break, Steve, after these commercial messages. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Radio Northampton's November edition. We have our special guest on the phone, Steve Turner from Bring Back the Trades. Thanks again for joining us, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
So I know you are so busy doing what you're doing here, trying to be responsible and get that Bring Back the Trades message out. But I know that you're also doing a whole bunch of other things, including you're running, I heard?
Yeah, I'm just an average runner. I started off, well, to make a long story short, I was a pre-diabetic 4 years ago and needed to get healthy, so I went to the doctor, lost some weight, started running, and went from a 5K to a 10K to a Boston Marathon. Now
Wow.
I'm up to 100-mile marathons.
100 miles, that's it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Wow. And you just recently had a race? You're making me feel bad, by the
I
way.
did the Mid-State Massive Ultra. It started in Ipswich, New Hampshire, ran all the way down through Massachusetts, into Rhode Island, Connecticut, and back to, I think it was, I can't remember the name of the park, but it was a Douglas State Park in Massachusetts. It ended up there. So we ended up running 112 miles total.
Wow. What was the recovery like after that?
Believe it or not, I run 10 miles every day and usually 15 50 miles on the weekend. So the recovery the next day was I was in a little bit of pain, but when you train right, you're not in that much pain. So I was able to work the next day, believe it or not.
So now I know where you get all the time to think about all of these scenarios for bringing back the trades and what your next is.
Yep, that's it.
Plenty of time. So important, obvious subject here, bring back the trades, which we've been talking about. How do others get involved to help you get that message out?
Well, we have a Facebook page, Bring Back the Trades, and then we also have Instagram, Bring Back the Trades. So if you can go onto the Facebook page, become a member, and then also, we have the scholarship program that we do every single month. Throughout the school year, so it's usually around 9 times. We actually just gave out a scholarship yesterday. We'll be announcing it today. So we're on our 9th one this year. So basically, we have the apparel. If you go on bringbackthetrades.com, we have sweatshirts, we have T-shirts, we have hats. So you can buy those. You can wear those around to get the word around. But to just, I like to say I'm not about the money. I'm more about teaching the kids, spreading the word and helping us out. We also do a couple of car shows in the summertime. So more about just getting the conversation going at the dinner table and with your friends. That's what we're really looking for.
Yeah, that's great. Now, what you're currently doing with upholstering for cars, I found it intriguing when we had you on the show for the Lori and Bean show. You were talking about what you're doing and how it's changed over time for what you were doing. I think you said you've been doing it for 30 years, something like that?
30. Well, I've been doing it, I'm 52 now, so 15. I've been in business 31 years next month.
And so some of those changes and how technology is now playing a crucial role here. What are you seeing there?
Correct. I actually just did a Mercedes this morning in 2015, and it has 14 different airbags just in the door panel of the seat. So when you're taking the cars apart, it's not the way it was. I think I described on the show before that back in my day, you had a screwdriver and a pair of pliers. You could take a seat out and redo it. Today, there's a lot of hazards that you can hurt yourself if you have it on the table and you're taking the wrong part. The airbag can it can explode in your face and do some damage. So the trade has totally changed. Not just my trade, every trade has changed. But and that's what I was saying about the stigma. The trades today, there's a lot of, you have to be very talented today. You have to use iPads. I mean, I'm on my computer constantly looking up the correct way to do something. So it's, there's a lot of skills, and you have to be computerized, and it's totally changed.
And it's not like you're seeing, training wherever you go. I mean, how did you learn to do this? I mean, you had to obviously acclimate yourself and change it as it goes, but how did you do that?
Well, the good thing about it is, the change came slowly. So take a Mercedes car, slowly they would change things as it went, over 10 years, things would slowly change. So you were able to change with the changes in a slower mode versus, sometimes we do get cars where, the guy that I've got working for me that's very talented, has been with me 15 years, both of us will have to go to the computer and research how to take it apart, because if you take it apart the wrong way and you break it, it costs a lot of money. So you have to really investigate the job before you do it.
Yeah, I bet there's a YouTube portion up there. You can look it up. I know. Correct. I live by that. So awesome. All right. Well, Steve, talk to me. I think you're coming back for Town Center Talks in January. Is that right?
It is, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we are as well. We can't wait to have you back. We really do appreciate all you're doing out there. Bring back the trades. We know how important it is, and we're here to support you every which way. Thank you so much for being on our show.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Talk soon, Steve. Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank Joe Manzi from the Northampton Recreation Department and Steve Turner from Bring Back the Trades. I'm Lori Caruso, and you've been listening to Radio Northampton.